The same way the Quran gives life to the hearts that were previously dead. They had potential in them, but that potential hadn't been activated yet inside. But if you look at it from the Quran's point of view, the most incredible change that happened was one change. It was change inside people's hearts. Something inside people transformed, changed forever. You and I, many of us are Muslim today because of what happened in those 23 years. It's an incredible, incredible change that continues to transform the world as we speak today. And to understand that, you have to understand a parable, an analogy that is very common in the Quran. Quran compares itself on a number of occasions to water raining from the sky. That's the comparison that's made. And that's an important comparison to understand. Water comes from the sky, the Quran came from the sky. Water is pure, the Quran is pure. Water gives life to the earth that was previously dead. It had the potential for life, but it was previously dead. The same way the Quran gives life to the hearts that were previously dead. They had potential in them, but that potential hadn't been activated yet inside. Or they had the seed inside of goodness, but it hadn't been given an opportunity to blossom and to bloom, right? So the water and Quran analogy is a very powerful one because it's actually an analogy of transformation itself. We are, in a sense, being compared to the earth. Just like the earth can be transformed by water, you won't recognize the land after the greenery comes, after the rain has done its effect, and before it looks like two different places. The same is true of human beings when the effect of revelation takes place. So now let's talk about that transformation, that how did human beings transform? Like the earth transforms, how did human beings transform? What was that change that the Quran brought about? Just looking at it from a historical point of view, the revelation of the Quran starts when the Prophet is at the age of 40 and it discontinues when he's at the age of 63. So that's a 23-year, very brief period. And in this period, an incredible revolution took place in this unknown part of the world map. In the middle of that desert, where there was no massive empire and no grand historians and scholars and things like that, in the middle of that completely unknown place, a revolution took place. A revolution that changed individuals from within. Everything about them changed. How they looked at life, how they thought about happiness and sadness, what their priorities were. Practically everything changed about the way they eat, the way they sleep, how they get married, who they get married to, how they get divorced, what they think about life and death, how they clean themselves, how they spend their time, what should their priorities in a day and in their year and their life be, what should they love and what should they hate. Everything about them emotionally, practically, in their daily habits transformed. It's an incredible individual transformation, but it's not just an individual transformation. It was also a societal transformation. The way business is conducted changed forever. The way the economy is organized changed. The way people deal with each other. What are the rights of men and women, and how should they interact with one another in society? What should be how do people of different economic classes deal with each other? How do governments deal with people and people deal with governments? What are the norms and values that govern the behavior of a society? What are even the ethics of war? How is even war conducted? Meaning even at a societal level, the value system was completely revolutionized within these 23 years. It's actually, from a historical point of view, an unprecedented kind of change within one group of people, within one society. Add to that, if you think about the fact that these people had a culture and a tradition that was thousands of years old. And when people follow a tradition that's centuries old, then they're very set in their ways. It's not easy to change them. But something happened in this time that changed them in a way that no other change in human history even compares. And that's not enough. Not only that little small portion of the world map changed, but as a result of it, in just a few years until to this day, the map of the world itself has changed forever. You and I, many of us are Muslim today because of what happened in those 23 years. It's an incredible, incredible change that continues to transform the world as we speak today. And it started then and the effect still continues. But if you look at it from the Quran's point of view, yes, this is from a historical point of view, a political scientist's point of view, from a sociologist's point of view, from an economist's point of view, they can see and measure these changes and look at how the map changed and how politics changed and how Islam spread and all of it. But if you look at it from the Quran's point of view, the most incredible change that happened was one change. It was change inside people's hearts. Something inside people transformed. You could talk about how green the earth is on the outside. The Quran is saying it's that seed within that transformed. That's the root of all of that change. And that's what we're going to try to get at in today's webinar. These were my few comments about the introduction to the surah and the subject matter that we're going to be dealing with.